Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lunch Hour Sports Podcast with your hosts, Jacob Smedley,
Sam Betts,
Justin Reedhammer,
Peter Amarante,
and Nathan Romanoff.
Today's topics include a recap of the NBA All-Star Weekend a few weeks ago, and our third episode in our covering the NFL's divisions. Now here's Sam Betts talking about the NBA All-Star Game and other functions.
And man, was it a wild ride for All-Star Weekend for the NBA. We had Team LeBron going up against Team Giannis for this All-Star Game. They had a draft. Giannis and LeBron picked their own players who would be on the team.
Now, when you say draft, I've seen a bunch of videos where they were clowning Giannis, like he was picking all of the Eastern Conference players, takes like Kawhi Leonard and Luka Doncic, like he was taking all the Eastern Conference players. What was up with that, Sam?
I don't know. I mean, Giannis, it did seem like he was not really going for a lot of the big names. He skipped out on James Harden. He skipped out on Kawhi, like you said. It was very interesting, but I think he obviously had a plan, and he did pick some really good players. He picked Pascal Siakam. He even picked Kemba Walker, Joel Embiid. So I mean, those are some decent players, and they're top-notch talent as well. However, that wasn't really enough for Giannis to win, as he lost only by 2 points as Team LeBron came on top, 157 to 155 here. Now, we'll go over some stats here. Kawhi Leonard, in 20 minutes, came up with 30 points.
Very impressive. He almost did he? I don't think he broke the three point record held by Paul George. I think it was 8 threes in an All-Star game. I think he came up.
So he did. Close. Well, if he did, he definitely tied it. He was 8 for 14 from the 3-point line, and he was 11 for 18 from the field as well. You have LeBron James, the team captain, scoring 23 points, 9 of 20 shooting from the field. 5 rebounds, 6 assists. He did have 2 blocks and 1 steal in that game, too. It was definitely a more intense game than it had been in recent years.
Exactly, and that's what I want to get to as well. Like the whole format change. Of course, Team LeBron, Team Giannis, second year of that, but the whole format was different. They were playing each quarter. Who won the quarter was. I mean, it was great that they gave all that money to charity. Absolutely spectacular for that format. But it was a different change with the quarters. It started out where it seemed like it was every All-Star game where there was little defense being played. They were throwing lumps, but as you got to the third, the fourth quarter, the intensity started ramping up, and it was awesome to watch as a fan of the game.
Yeah, and I think other NBA fans appreciated that too, because I mean, like, you see a lot of really good offensive plays, you see a lot of dunks, you see a lot of really good shots being made in other years, but to see like some really good defense too, because that's a very important part of the basketball game.
Important.
So I think a lot of NBA fans were really happy that it started to pick up toward the end of the game.
Nate, what'd you think about the game itself?
I mean, yeah, I think it was a great game, very entertaining. I love the new format, winning the quarters for your charity of choice. I think that made it more competitive, like you guys said. It was only a 2-point game in the end, LeBron coming out on top. And overall, I think it was great for the NBA community and the city of Chicago. So it was a great game.
It was a good close game. There was a lot of motivation with the whole charity and the quarter wins and stuff like that. Again, congratulations to Team LeBron for winning that. But it's a close game, really fun to watch, and like Nate said, it was really nice for the NBA community.
Yeah, and again, wonderful tribute to Kobe and all of the festivities that went on beforehand was absolutely amazing. And again, speaking of festivities beforehand, the dunk contest, skills competition, and 3-point competition the night before on that Saturday night.
Yes, indeed. So, for the skills competition, it ended up being in the end Bam Adebayo and Domantas Sabonis. And for the skills competition, you wouldn't really think about seeing a lot of big men. Like, you have the center, Bam Adebayo, and I mean, Domantas Sabonis he's like small forward, power forward guy.
Yeah.
I mean, but Bam Adebayo came out and won it.
Yeah, and I think it's really showing the new wave of the NBA of how it is right now. You have athletic big men who can be able to do it all on the floor. Bam Adebayo, a guy who can also put it on the floor and take it himself and dribble the ball as well and make some perimeter shots as we saw there. Very impressive, and again shows the new day and age that the NBA is in. Really back at when it really first started, it was all guards and these point guards, shooting guards, small forwards winning. And now big men are really coming into the fold here.
Yes, and it's really nice to see the game of basketball evolve where big men can be that athletic and not just sit in the paint all the time, but also be able to make really good passes, make really good shots, be able to dribble the ball everywhere. That's also a really nice part of the game. But now we have the 3-point contest. So Joe Harris came back, the defending champion. However, he did not even make it into the final round. We had Davis Bertans, we had Devin Booker, and Buddy Hield in the last 3 for the kind of final round there. And Davis Bertans from the Spurs. You have Devin Booker, who's a really big superstar in the NBA. He's kind of overlooked just because he's on the Suns, but, I mean, he's still a
that final round was spectacular between him and Hield. They were shooting the lights out the whole round. I think Joe Harris got knocked down with like a 20, 24, 25 in the early round. They were knocking it down, and that final round with Booker and Hield was spectacular. I mean, Hield, that final shot for the win, that was remarkable. I mean, that was just great. That was very entertaining.
Yeah, and then, I mean, just that whole All-Star weekend was just full of competition, full of excitement, people on the edge of their seats waiting for someone to win, and Buddy Hield did come out on top. All right, so now we have the slam dunk contest. What do you?
That was
bit
fun.
controversial.
We have a lot to say about the
I don't know. I
dunk
think they were
contest,
wrong in
don't
the
we,
winner.
Jake?
They were wrong in the winner.
Aaron Gordon was robbed. Aaron Gordon was robbed.
He was.
There was no. You dunk over Taco Falls
He's
and don't
7'5".
win.
Taco Falls 7'5". Imagine the momentum you have to get above this guy to dunk the basketball.
And this is no discredit to Derek Jones Jr. He had some really nice dunks too. Dunking right, just like one step in front of the
free throw line.
Yes,
Yeah, that
I
was
mean
very
he had some really
impressive.
nice dunks too. I mean, but like Aaron Gordon, man.
That was.
Deserved it.
And now he's not going to participate in the
Yes,
future.
Aaron Aaron Gordon has said he will never participate in the dunk contest
Because
again.
he was robbed. He was
robbed twice.
You're right.
And again,
That would be frustrating. To me,
probably the best dunk contest we've seen since the Zach
Yeah.
Levine
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon
Yeah.
dunk contest, and now we might not see another one because you want to encourage the best dunkers, the best 3-point shooters to be in this event. And when you're robbing people like that, it's not
And you
doing
can
that.
see the crowd. You saw the crowd's reactions. Giannis was even like in disbelief.
Yeah, it was.
Everyone,
It was a crazy
Taco
ball.
Fall couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, Aaron Gordon congratulated Derek Jones Jr. He did say he was robbed, but he did congratulate him, which was showing good sportsmanship.
That was good sportsmanship on his
And
part, yeah.
I mean, congratulations to Derek Jones Jr. He's really good. He can also really dunk the ball too, but
He was
I don't know.
robbed.
Do you
He
guys
was
think
robbed.
Dwayne Wade had some bias in it, being one of the judges?
Maybe.
there?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Yeah, we can fairly say he was robbed of that dunk.
It was
I,
it was
I,
robbery.
we could say it was close, but I think
was close.
he definitely should have won that.
Yeah.
And now our second topic today on the episode, continuing our series about the NFL divisions, here with Justin Reedhammer, the AFC North.
Thank you, Jacob. Now, to start off with the AFC North, we're going to start with the Cincinnati Bengals. Terrible season for the Bengals. Terrible season.
2 wins.
Terrible.
2-14.
Holy.
Just awful. I mean,
We thought the Dolphins were bad.
Yeah, right.
yeah. Talk about number 32 in the league.
Hey, you get first draft pick.
I mean,
You got your
yeah,
consolation
they
prize.
got the first pick. They were trying throughout the season though. I mean, Andy Dalton had an okay season. 3,494 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, god awful 14 interceptions.
Yeah,
though.
really.
You can't do that. That's really what it came down to. They didn't have it in any asset of their team. Their offense wasn't great. They were 26th. Defensively, the same, 29th. Like, they didn't have it this year.
Yeah.
They really didn't.
I mean,
And wasn't Andy Dalton out for a couple games for an injury or something like that?
they actually replaced him with the backup quarterback,
They did.
the rookie,
Yeah.
for a couple of games before they decided,
we need Andy Dalton.
we gotta
back.
cut him off.
Yeah,
Now,
just
yeah.
gotta put him back in there for the final games.
needing
I don't-
what they need everything.
They really need everything. I was gonna say I don't know what they do in the draft. They need everything.
Smoking Joe
Joe
Burrow.
Burrow.
Yeah,
They will
that's
take
what they
him with
need.
the number 1 pick.
Smoking Jay.
If they don't, they're fools.
They
So,
are. They
what
really
do you
are.
guys think they're gonna do with Andy Dalton? So they're gonna get Joe Burrow. They should get Joe
Joe
Burrow
Burrow.
for the first
Honestly,
pick.
yes.
What are they gonna do with Andy Dalton? They gotta trade him or just release him? I would have to
I would say
say.
trade.
Yeah.
I would say trade because although Andy's not the best of the quarterbacks,
With some talent,
he
I-
still has worth.
Mhm.
Like if he has good receivers, good O line, he can still be a mediocre to pretty average quarterback.
Yeah, I say they would trade him because then you can get something out of it. Like,
Exactly.
if you're just
You
letting him
can't
go to
just
free
release him,
agency,
man.
then yeah, I mean, you got to get something out of.
And
Something.
I mean, who knows? He could end up being like a Ryan Tannehill. He gets on a better roster. Maybe he has a better season next
Yeah,
Exactly.
with a
I mean,
different
yeah.
system, yeah. But what do you guys speaking of free agency, Justin? Is there any one area they need to adjust? Of course, in the draft, really getting good young players like Joe Burrow with the first pick and other picks in the other rounds. But what about free agency? Is there any? I mean, I know it's not very appealing for free agents to come to Cincinnati with the way it was. But is there any? Like they have a solid running back in Joe Mixon that is going to give you the yards that he did. Is there maybe an lineman out there that's willing to come to sit through this rebuild? Or defensively, is there a good defensive player, pass rusher, cornerback or safety or something that wants to come and really maybe wait for the long haul but be ready for when the Bengals are in a position to win again?
I think that when you're rebuilding a team, when it's this bad, I think you need to start at one facet of your game, improve that a lot, and then you can take the other one up in the next couple of years.
But-
So,
Go ahead, Justin.
uh,
I was,
whether they should focus on offense or defense, I'm not sure. I think their offense is a little closer to being better. So, with having a solid running back, so I think that if they can sort of rework a couple of the O linemen, get some better receivers in there, try and hold on to AJ Green. I don't know if they can do that or not with
Yeah.
the
well,
salary
Joe
cap they
Mixon
have.
too. He had a pretty good
Yeah,
season.
Joe Mixon's, I think, a running back that they know they can have for the
Yep.
future, and is going to be a good running back for, again, a guy like Joe Burrow, who,
Yep.
again, they're supposedly going to draft here to be able to rely on in early downs and get him comfortable in the new system. And especially, you've got to, I think that's one of the things you've got, not to get off topic, but for young quarterbacks, to have that good running back to be able to get into the system that you're in.
Exactly, and this is an open question for anybody, but like Justin said, like build up one or two sides. Do you focus on building up just one side? Like, for me, it's really difficult to see what to do for the Bengals because they struggle so much on both sides this year. Do you try to build up equally both sides, or do you focus one side or the other first with drafting and free agencies?
The thing that Justin is correct about, we just saw the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions. They did a great job at building their offense, and then their defense came with free agent acquisitions and the change of the defensive coordinator. So I think Justin is on to something with that. They built up their offense through Patrick Mahomes, surrounding him with talented players. So Justin is definitely right on that part. But I see what you're saying with a balanced attack. I just think that you want to have that one area of the game, whether it's offense or defense, that's very superior. Again, Broncos a few years back as well, that amazing defense that got them to the biggest game and ended up winning the biggest
Yeah, I
game.
mean, I do believe that if you're gonna rebuild a team from like a bad phase, you need to get that one. Like you said, Kansas City, they had their good offense. Even last year, their offense was great.
Yeah.
And then they built up their defense up through the years. Baltimore, their defense was good for quite a few years,
Yeah,
and then
and
they
now
built
their
up the
offense,
offense,
yeah,
and
is
now
now-
they became that balanced team. I mean, Buffalo.
So you're
Buffalo
saying
has a
right
great
now,
defense.
build up the
They're building up
offense.
their offense. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's how
I would have to agree. I
these
mean, you
teams
can't get best of both worlds. So if you gotta build up on your offense, like to that strike force to get.
Yeah,
the
whatever's
scores.
closer, I think they build up on that, and then
Yeah.
they focus on the other as the next couple of years come.
Yeah, and with Joe Burrow, I say the offense is the direction they would go in.
All right, and then we can move on then to the Cleveland Browns here, who 6-10 this year, not what everybody was expecting.
No.
They were overhyped for a lot of reasons. I mean, everybody thought, oh, Baker Mayfield, he's gonna be great this year because
Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry.
he's got
Nick Chubb,
he's got
yeah.
Jarvis Landry, and he had a great year last year too, but he just did not perform. He had better yardage wise, 3,827 yards, but 22 touchdowns. That's down 5 from what he had last year, and 21 interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 1-to-1 ratio. That's not what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, they were supposed to be the team this year. The
To
team
make it to the
beat.
playoffs,
They
to
were
go
supposed
deep
to be
into the
the
playoffs.
Super Bowl team. Like, that's what everybody was
Yeah.
calling them. They were like, oh, this is going to be the big team, the one that's going to make all the championships.
Everything they did
Everything, yeah.
offensively and defensively.
They were like,
yeah,
everybody before in the offseason was saying, this is the team that made the best moves.
But did you believe it? Did you believe they could actually pull that kind of thing off?
A lot of people did. I personally didn't. I didn't think that they would do it, and they
I
did.
didn't think they could build enough fast.
I had to see it to believe it. Now,
Yeah.
I bought into a little bit of the hype machine, but I needed to see it to believe it, and they didn't show it in the end over the course of the season. They really didn't do much better than they did the year before. I mean,
Yeah,
to
I
be
mean,
quite
they were
honest.
just, overall, their team, 23rd. Their offense and defense were both 22nd. I mean, they were just mediocre at best. I mean...
I mean,
just-
the positive I guess you can get is Baker Mayfield. Again, he still is young. I mean, that's still out there. That they have again him, Nick Chubb, young players who again hopefully they can take that next step this year and take the next step, and the offense can take that next step as a whole to improve the team. So I mean, I guess you think that it's going to get better. I mean, it has to, or you think this is just really going to be a tough situation with all the talent that they have to put on this performance during the season.
Yeah, my suggestion would probably be for this team to focus on their defense, because their offense was, they have talent.
Yeah,
They didn't
do.
perform good. They didn't work like a well-oiled machine, but they do have talent there.
Yeah, they can score points.
Yeah, if Baker Mayfield can clean up his acts, and the new coaching staff, they can, rework everything. If we can get some respect on that team, then I think the offense can be good. They have the talent to be good. But their defense, they need to work on that a bit, because their running defense was just god-awful, 30th in the NFL.
Mhm.
But their pass defense was 7th. So if they can work on the running defense, get a couple of D linemen, maybe some linebackers, I say they can be a good team.
So you're saying free agency, get the linebackers, and even through the draft, like you think that's what they mainly should focus on?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, I would agree. They need to. The offense has the capability of scoring points. Like Justin said, if Baker Mayfield cleans up his act, and you get more passes off to phenomenal players like Odell Beckham. Like, he's a phenomenal wide receiver. If he gets those passes connected and Baker Mayfield makes up his act and cleans it up, and they build up the defense, they could build again and probably have a good season.
And then we can move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had the middle-of-the-road season, 8-8. Not great, not terrible, They were in the thick of it. They could have been in the playoffs. As we said, with the new format, they would have been in the playoffs. They didn't really have a quarterback this year, as we know.
Ben Roethlisberger getting hurt at the beginning of the season.
And then Mason Rudolph. And
Yeah, Mason Rudolph with his problems, and then they had Devlin Hodges in there for a little bit. They had a strange one, is the best I can say.
Yeah.
I mean, offensively, not good, 30th.
Wow.
Defensively, good, 5th.
Yeah, they have a very good young defense with T.J. Watt there and Devin Bush. They have a lot of very good young pieces. Minka Fitzpatrick, what he did coming over from Miami, I mean, he made an instant impact and really rejuvenated that team during the middle of the season. So they definitely have something to build on there. Again, like you said, 30th offensively. Again, when I hear that, it's just a bit shocking with having Juju Smith-Schuster and James Conner and all the I mean, they were supposed to be very good offensively with Roethlisberger in there, but again, once he went down, it kind of was a tough situation there with Rudolph and Hodges in there. And
I still want to give Pittsburgh a lot of credit, though. They did decently well for having to go so far in your quarterback lineup that these, like, Doug Hodges, like, he's experienced on the, sort of, but he had a good season. He had a good season. And
for what he was thrown into.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, for the most part, when Devlin Hodges was playing, he wasn't playing very good defenses that were against the pass.
like the Cardinals and
When he really got exposed was when he played against Buffalo. That's when I remember seeing that game, and I remember them saying that that's what he was. Like, he's the rookie quarterback. He's not going to be that good, coming into these next couple of tough games. And I really think that they need to, in the next draft, maybe get a quarterback that can replace Ben Roethlisberger when he goes.
I don't know. I think quarterback to replace Roethlisberger. I mean, haven't they already tried that in the past few drafts? I mean, that's what I think. Again, maybe another. Again, like we talked about in previous episodes, the wide receiver draft class is phenomenal this year. Pairing a young, good wide receiver with Juju Smith-Schuster and building up the skill set and maybe trying to, like you said, now maybe they get another quarterback in the later rounds and try and, again, a longer path of development. But again, I think, the skill positions has to be the focal point. If Roethlisberger, if he's on track to be healthy for that team, they have cornerback Smith-Schuster, add in another wide receiver, a skill position player from the draft, and that team can be another 8, 9, 10 win team, I think, next year with the defense that they have.
I think I had to disagree just because the receivers that they have aren't that bad. Like, they have James Washington, they have Juju. Those are good receivers. I think that if they're going to go skill position, they go running back. Because James Conner, he didn't have a great season this year. So I really do believe that they should go more running back than they should receiver, because they have okay receivers this year.
And I mean, they're quarterbacks like Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges. They're young quarterbacks, you know. So if they get more experience, perhaps they'll get better with that experience. Ben Roethlisberger is no young man. He is 37. He's coming off season-ending injury and surgery on his elbow. So, we don't know what he's going to be like next season. He might never get back to where he once was at the pinnacle of his career. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but personally, I think running back, get a backup for James Conner would be a smart decision because their defense is playing well, like you said. So,
All right, and now we can move on to the final team, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh boy, the Baltimore Ravens. I mean,
I did not see it coming when they got upset in the playoffs. I'm just gonna put that out there.
They were.
I thought they were going to the Super Bowl. In my opinion, the way that Lamar Jackson was playing through the regular season and the way that defense was, again, they were my Super Bowl favorites.
14-2, they were excellent this year.
Outstanding.
Lamar Jackson, not as much of a passer though as he was a runner. I mean, 3,127 yards passing, 36 touchdowns though.
Very impressive.
Quite a few touchdowns, only 6 interceptions.
it's really
That
good
is
ratio.
6-to-1 ratio. That's really good.
That is very good.
But something I'd like to highlight about him, he was the team's leading rusher at 1,206 yards, 7 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
The
He did
new
it
age
all.
Michael Vick.
Yeah.
The new age Michael Vick. I think he can do it all at the quarterback position.
The thing that just stunned me about this team the most was that offensively they were second, defensively they were fourth. I mean, they should have been the team.
They were the team.
They
in
were
the regular
a force
season.
to be reckoned with.
They
really were.
They should have been
Top
the team
five.
to be in the Super Bowl, because if your defense is top 5 and your offense is top 5, you're going to win a Super Bowl, right?
You
should.
have to
You
imagine.
should.
You
You imagine they
Yeah.
would.
We'd like to hope so.
Especially
Yeah.
with the quarterback they also have.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, with Lamar Jackson, the MVP of this
Yeah.
year. I mean,
Deservingly the MVP.
Yeah, it's just amazing how it just ended so quickly. Like, you'd think that at least they'd win 1-2 games in the playoffs, but
Get to the conference championship.
But
Yeah, I don't really know where they could build from here. I mean,
I don't
they had such a great season. I mean, their rushing attack, one of the best of all time. I think that if they're going to upgrade anything, they don't really need to upgrade their defense. Defense is top 5 and in like both pass and rushing defense. So I think that they should upgrade more of the receivers.
I say
That's honestly the only spot.
running back, and why I say this is they have a good running back now, but Lamar Jackson does a lot of running. That's risky for a quarterback in some cases, because if you get stood up and hit, and possibly a season-ending injury, like Carson Wentz tried to run a football, got his ACL torn and all that stuff, and that ended his entire season. If Lamar Jackson experiences something like that, that could be really game-changing, even season-changing for the Baltimore Ravens.
now, what you said with running back, now they do have a very good running back in Mark Ingram, who's usually the first, second down back to get the yardage early in downs. But like you said, I think they need a third down back, like a James White kind of guy, a passing down back in the third down. Dion Lewis, who's also on the mind, a guy that can find the first down in the passing down on the third down and be able to beat linebackers down the field. Another passing option for Lamar Jackson. He has a great tight end in Mark Andrews who can do that. Some wide receivers, Hollywood Brown, who I think is going to be a very good wide receiver with his blistering speed. But I think, again, the Ravens, they need to build that offense, maybe just a few little additions here and there to make a big difference in the next season, because they have so much talent offensively and defensively. They can make those depth moves, like a Deion Lewis, or these guys that maybe they're not going to start, but they're definitely going to play a role in either later downs or find a way to play a role on this team to make them that much better and compete for a Super Bowl in the coming years.
Yeah, I'd say that the only key that I can think of to the Ravens' success next year would be to kind of be in retention mode. So retain all their players that they have and go out to get maybe one or two new ones.
Yeah, make sure they hold on to that team.
That concludes this week's episode of the Lunch Hour Podcast. Just a disclaimer, next week we will not have an episode coming out. So again, you can find new episodes on YouTube. Thank you all for listening.